Hello, today we'll be talking about variables and data types. Here's an overview of what we will cover today. So it's variables, integer, double float, character, wide character, boolean, and string. First, we're going to talk about variables, and it's basically where we tell our program to store certain values we need in our code. One of the cool things about variables is that we can manipulate them with arithmetic we will learn later on. But first, we must learn how to declare and initialize them before we can use them. Our program will have no idea what we're saying. We're trying to just type in a random variable, I guess. So first thing we do is declaring. We want to make sure that you type the data you will be using followed by a name. When declaring a variable, be mindful of what you'll name it because you'll be using it through your code and you don't want to get mixed up with any other variable. An example here being int favnum. If you wanted to get a user to type in their favorite number, you would store it into int favnum and it will keep track of that. So in order to use a variable, you also have to initialize it. And when you initialize a variable, you set it equal to a value, but don't be too concerned about setting it to an initial value that's like important or something, because you can always change it through arithmetic or just go back and change it. So here the int favnum equals 7, and you can also initialize by setting int favnum with parentheses 7 semicolon to save yourself the equal sign. You can do multiple at a time if you include a comma as well. Okay, so one of the first data types is int. Int is short for integer. It is we store positive and negative whole numbers. We use this variable type when you know you won't need any decimals. For example, if you wanted to keep track of the students in a class, you can't have any half students, so it would have to be all whole numbers, so int would work pretty well here. The example provided there, int students equals 7 with a semicolon. Okay, if you want to be more precise, you would use float/double. Floating point is just when you want to use decimal to one place. A good example of that would be if you wanted to use like body temp or something, where you don't need as much precision, but you still want to use a decimal. Double, on the other hand, is more precision, where you can get, I guess, either like pi with a bunch of decimals, or you can get like, I used here like the sales tax. Yeah, so you would just type in the data type, the variable name, and set equal to a value. And then here, another data type is character and wide character. Character just stores any symbol or letter that's on your keyboard into a variable. And you want to make sure you use the little hyphens instead of the actual quotations, or else you're setting the wrong value to the character data type. Pretty sure it won't work. And also, wide character is the same thing, but just with more symbols and stuff like that. So as you can see in the example, we used the ohm sign or symbol, stored it into the variable ohm there. Okay, so Boolean is another variable type where you store true or false into a variable. Data type. This is useful to check if any conditions are met, and later on we'll use them for like for loops, if-else statements, stuff like that. An example being bool is admin equals true to make sure a condition is met or something's true or false. String is a data type used to store whole sentences with the spaces included. This is different though because you have to use standard or SED : string name. So example being if you want to use you want to have a string that says welcome or hello world or whatever, you just set it equal to that, the STD string welcome equal to whatever's in the quotations. So in conclusion, in order to use variables in your code, you must declare and initialize them. Make sure you use good names for variables so you keep track of what is what. Another important thing to consider is that choosing the right data type can improve your efficiency and also makes it so later down the road there's no problems in your arithmetic that we will cover later on. Okay, thank you for watching.